Last month, I discovered I have 119 books on my physical TBR. I had no idea it was that many because I've never sat and counted them, and I normally don't have them all stacked around me like I do right now. This is a problem, and this year I am determined to fix this. Originally, my goal was to get it under 100, but we can definitely do better than that. I'm thinking maybe 50? Is that realistic? Probably not. But one of my friends gave me this idea. She told me I should make a bingo card to read through my TBR. And that's exactly what I did. Now, my bingo card may be a little bit ugly, but it's functional, and that's what's important, okay? And then once she told me that, I realized I literally have a whole bingo game setup thing with this fun little rotator bingo thing. I don't even have to pick the prompts. This little bingo thing is gonna pick the prompts for me. I don't even need to explain. I feel like everyone has played bingo before, so we're just gonna hop right into this. Okay, first one, B6. I do not have B6. Oh, it gave me two. N38. Okay, I do not have N38. It's this one. B4. I do not have B4. Okay. G55. I do not have G55. This is gonna take a while. Also, I forgot to say, but I literally copied another bingo card, so that's where I got these numbers from. Anyway, B9. I don't have that either. Okay. O71. Oh my goodness. B10. Okay, my bingo card is bad luck, I think. I30. N43. B13. Okay, I have that one. That is a bestseller. Okay, I'm gonna pull a couple of options and then we'll see what books I have that go with this prompt. Okay, I just quickly pulled 4 books, all of which say New York Times bestseller on the front. Well, one says part of a New York Times bestselling series, but I'm gonna count it. So I'll show you my options. These are actually all part of my 2025 TBR, which is basically just my priority TBR. But I have Lucy Foley's The Paris Apartment, The Lost Man, The Scorched Trials, which is the one that I was talking about. That's part of a bestselling series. And then I also have The Help. I actually think I'm most in the mood to read The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley, so this is gonna be our first book of the video. Also, I decided to do my bingo card like this because I did not trust myself to pick out my own prompts, because I feel like if I picked out my own prompts, I would just look at this and I would just read the books on my immediate TBR. Like, I would find prompts that go with those books, but really I need to get to the books that are not on my immediate TBR. Like, I need to get to the books that have been sitting here for ages. But anyways, we are going to start with a book on my immediate TBR because I've been wanting to read this, and I actually feel like it's a good thing I picked this book up right now because I wanted to read it before it got too hot outside, and it's already feeling like spring. It is the next morning. I didn't read as much as I thought I would yesterday. I only got to page 64, and honestly I think that's because I'm not loving this book right now. And I think my main problem with it right now is that this is supposed to be a thriller, and I don't find it thrilling at all. I think for a thriller it's just a bit too slow, which I feel like part of the reason that I'm drawn to thrillers is because they're supposed to be fast-paced. Like, they're typically a fast-paced book, and I'm not finding this to be fast-paced at all so far. You're following these people that live in this apartment complex, so each chapter kind of switches point of view between the people that live in this apartment complex and Ben's sister. And Ben's sister was supposed to go visit Ben, but she shows up and he's like not there, so like obviously something's happened to Ben, you know, something's going on with Ben. I just feel like a thriller should have had more happen by now. Like, I literally had to Google the genre of this book to make sure it was actually a thriller and that I wasn't just confused, because I was like, nothing about this is screaming thriller right now. And it's a pretty short book, so I feel like more should have happened at this point. I will say, when I stopped reading last night, something did pop up and I was like, finally we're getting something. Like, finally something else is going to happen in this book after almost 70 pages of basically nothing. Like, I was so frustrated with this book yesterday that I thought about DNFing it, and I hate DNFing books. I don't have high hopes as of right now. It's much later in the day. I was not planning on updating right now, to be honest, but I'm actually glad I am because I've been reading a good amount today. But I decided to update right now because I saw this on my Pinterest feed and I was like, okay, my Pinterest is 100% listening to me. And this is not the first time that this has happened, where I'll be like talking about a book that I'm reading and it'll pop up on Pinterest. So I don't know, I just needed to tell you that Pinterest is for sure listening to me. But also, I thought it was funny that that Pinterest picture is literally someone like raving about this book, and in the last clip I was like hating on this book 100%. But I got to page 178, which I think it's a little bit before halfway through, and let me tell you, I am definitely liking the book more now than I was at like the 60 page mark, but I'm still not loving it. I feel like not enough has happened at all. Like, it just feels like a whole lot of nothing right now, and maybe at the end all all of this nothing will make sense. But right now I'm like, nothing has really happened enough for me to be like, oh yeah, this is like a really good thriller. I don't know, I'm just not super shocked by anything either. Like there's one thing that I feel like a lot of people would probably be shocked about, but like I read it and I was like, okay, well, whatever. And I moved on. Like, I don't know. I hope that's making sense because I don't know why I don't think that that was like a super shocking twist or revelation, or is that even the right word? I don't think it is. It is on the up and up, which is good news. And I'm hoping that just means as I continue to read it, I will like it more. It is much later in the day. Jack and I ran some errands this morning, so I haven't been able to read a ton today. Also, I keep touching my hair because it looks crazy. It is so humid outside today because it's just like super foggy out for some reason. Love you. I did get to page 292 and I think I have realized what my problem is with this book because I've been saying I just don't love it. It's just not my favorite thriller that I've read, and I feel like I've read a good amount of thrillers. Like I'm not super new to reading thrillers, but at the same time I kind of feel like what? What? Like I was saying, at the same time I feel like I haven't read so many thrillers where I'm at the point where like I'm guessing everything that's happening in thrillers. But I will say in this thriller I have guessed a couple things. Some things I have been surprised by, but also I think I said this earlier, when those things happen I'm not like shocked by them. I'm just like, okay, well that's something new, move on. You know what I mean? Like I think it's because I partly kind of just don't care about the book at this point. Like, and it's not a bad book. I just think this is what I was going to say. I just think that I don't like this thriller because it is very character driven, which is very weird to me in a thriller. Like I just feel like we have learned so much about the characters and everything surrounding their lives that it's like I just don't really need to know this information. Like I feel like specifically in a thriller you don't normally like take a deep dive into their lives, but in this one you kind of do. So I wasn't expecting that, which means I kind of don't love it. And I feel like maybe if I was expecting it to do that I would like it a little bit more, but I don't know, I'm just conflicted because also when it does that in different books I don't mind that. Like I like a good character focused book, but not when it comes to a thriller. When it comes to a thriller I want it to be like all plot, very thrilling, I'm on the edge of my seat, and that has not happened with this book. Like I have not been on the edge of my seat at all while reading this, unfortunately, but I am pretty close to being finished with it, so hopefully the next time I update you I will be done with this book and we'll be picking our next book. I finished The Paris Apartment, which was our prompt for a bestseller, and I feel like I talked a lot already about my thoughts and feelings on this book. I think as of right now I'm going to rate this a 2-star. I did not like it. I think the main problem for me was that in my opinion it should not be marketed as a mystery or a thriller when I feel like it more read as a general fiction with a subplot of like that mystery feel. Like The Perfect Couple by Ellen Hildebrand is set up in a similar way as this book is, where it's like a general fiction and you're learning a lot about their life, but there's still this underlying mystery that you want solved by the end of the book. That's kind of how this book felt, and when I was going into it I wanted a mystery, I wanted a thriller, and that's just not what I got. So I was pretty disappointed in this book. I also feel like our main character didn't do a good job of being a detective and trying to figure out these clues. I feel like she was a little bit all over the place. I don't know, I just did not love this one, which kind of sucks because this was my first book by Lucy Foley and I feel like she is very popular in like the thriller mystery space. So maybe I'll read another book by her, I'm not sure, but this one was a pass for me. Now let's move on to our second prompt of the video. B15, which I do not have. Oops, I lost it. No. This is O67. Don't have that either. N37. Also don't have that. 069, don't have. B2. I do have that. Okay, this one says a random color generator. So I'm gonna go to Google and I'm just gonna Google a random color generator. Random color generator. Let's do a wheel. I feel like that's fun. Okay, spin. Is that a pink? Oh my gosh, that's so funny because I was just thinking that I don't have that many pink books. Okay, this might be a little challenging for me. Okay, I pulled a couple of books. I know you can literally see this bright pink one staring at me, but I kind of don't want to read this one right now, so I didn't include that in the books that I pulled. I have Sense and Sensibility, which kind of feels like cheating because it's mostly blue, but it's got like the pink, what is this, flowers all around it? So like I feel like that might work. But then I also have Animal Farm by George Orwell, Before We Were Strangers, and I have Love and Gelato, and I'm honestly trying to decide between Before We Were Strangers and Love and Gelato. I think I want to read the synopses. I don't know. I'm gonna read the back of both of these and then come back and decide. I finally decided. I feel like I want to read Love and Gelato because I feel like this one is just giving me like more lighthearted spring vibes than this one, even though it's still technically winter when I'm filming this. I don't know. Either way, I'm in the mood for this one. I'm sure you can tell, but it is the next morning. Actually, you probably can't even tell because it is still dark outside. I love daylight savings and all, but there's still not enough sunlight if you ask me. Like, I need it to be brighter in the morning. Hello, what are you doing? Someone is rubbing her face all up on the camera. Anyway, it is the next morning. I made it to page 98 last night, and I can't lie. Part of the reason I chose this book was because I wanted something that would quickly make me love the book enough to just forget everything else around me and read, and this book definitely did that. I feel like that's the only reason I managed to get so far into this book so quickly. Hey, what are you doing? Hey! I also didn't realize the whole reason she goes to Italy is because her mom dies. It literally says it on the back of the book. I just definitely did not read that. Hello, Albie. Like, hi. Okay. Someone is really excited that I'm awake right now, so she keeps demanding pets. But because her mom has died, she's obviously dealing with a lot of grief. But I feel like the author manages to write about grief in a way that the book isn't like overly sad. And I really appreciate that because I did not want a book that was super sad. I wanted something a bit more lighthearted, and I feel like this cover is just giving a more lighthearted vibe. So even though she is going through so much, it doesn't feel too sad. Like, it's the perfect in between of like managing to talk about grief without being way too sad. So I really appreciate that, and I'm definitely enjoying it so far. I will say I'm hoping I can get attached to the characters a bit more and just to fall in love with this book. I feel like I haven't had a 5-star at all in March. Maybe I have. No, I think that happened in February actually. Yeah, my last 5-star was definitely in February, which is sad. I feel like I at least get one 5-star a month, and I just have not found my one for March yet. So fingers crossed we're gonna find it in this video. One more thing, because I read this last night and I just remembered that I read it like when I picked up the book, because we're reading basically about like clothes right now, which I can't explain that without giving something away. But last night when I was reading, our main character like went into like the city that she's near in Italy. I think it's Florence, but I can't remember for sure. But basically she was describing her outfit and she was saying that she wore a t-shirt. I'm like, girl, you're in Italy, like you can't wear a t-shirt. And so as soon as she said that, I like was like, okay, we're gonna have to come back to this. Like, surely we are gonna talk about the fact that she's wearing a t-shirt. We didn't come back to it, but it was in my head like the entire time that she was in the city. I was like, someone's got to say something to her about this t-shirt. Like, I can't handle it. Which was just so funny that like I couldn't get over the fact that she was wearing a t-shirt. Like, it's not that big of a deal, but like in my head I was like, you don't wear a t-shirt in Italy? Like, what? I'm now on page 199, and this book is reading so fast that I feel like if you're new to reading, this would be a really good option for you. Or also, if you're going to Italy, I feel like this book would be so fun to read while traveling. I did think that this was a romance book, and I could be wrong, but I'm hoping more of the romance aspects will start picking up, because as of right now, we've just been getting crumbs of romance. But I feel like it's so obvious, but basically I'm still enjoying it. I'm just hoping that the romance will come sooner rather than later, because I worry that it will come later, because this is a series. I think there's 3 books, but there might be more. I'm not entirely sure, but I worry that because it's a series, they're going to decide to take their sweet old time with the romance. if you can hear it, but it's storming right now and it's so loud. But I just made it to chapter 22, which is page 304. So I'm actually really close to being done with this book, which is shocking, but it just like reads so fast. But I will say I have found it a little bit predictable so far, but everything I predicted has already happened. So at this point, I'm like, I don't really know how the story is going to end at all, especially because I feel like we've already kind of reached the conclusion, but obviously we haven't because there's still a good amount left. So I'm kind of confused on that front, but obviously we're gonna find out. But like I said, it's storming here, so it's pretty dark and I'm hoping we don't lose power, but also my camera's gonna die. So I'm gonna go charge it just in case we lose power. I can still read and vlog, but I'm gonna go eat lunch and then I'm gonna assume that I will just talk to you once I finish this book because I'm so close to finishing it. But that is my main critique right now. I just found it a bit too predictable. I finished Love and Gelato, which was the book I picked out for a random color generator, but I think as of right now I'm gonna rate this a 3.5 star, and I read this book in less than 24 hours, which I haven't done that with a book in so long, so I feel like that's a good sign. But the major problem I had with it was how predictable I found it to be, but I still really enjoyed the story. I still think that if you are newer to reading, this would be right up your alley. It is YA, so I feel like it reads a little bit like it, but it was just a sweet, cute YA romance, so if that's what you're in the mood for, highly recommend this. Now we're gonna pick our last book of the video. 63. I don't have N41. Okay, I have N41. It says has a screen adaptation. Okay, I feel like I have a good amount of options for this, but I pulled out 3 and I'm gonna stop there. First, I have You, which has a TV show on Netflix. And then I also have The Help, which is a movie. And I have The Scorched Trials, which is also a movie. And I think I'm trying to decide between The Scorched Trials and You. And honestly, I think I'm leaning the most towards You, but I've been reading so many thrillers recently that I don't know. I don't know if I should put this one off and like read a different book because I have been reading just so many thrillers. And I'm pretty sure this is a thriller. Maybe I should double check that. And also I'm in the middle of so many series. Like, do I really want to start another series? Kind of. I think that this is the one that is speaking to me the most. And maybe I just need to go with my gut, you know? I think I'm gonna go with this one. I'm about to work out, but I've made it to page 40 in this book. So I wanted to give a quick update before I work out. And since I'm on page 40, I feel like I can give kind of a spoiler-free synopsis. So basically we have Joe, and Joe is the narrator of the book, but Joe is also like a stalker. Not like a stalker. He is a stalker. Yeah. And one day he meets our main girl character who I don't know how to pronounce her name at all, but she goes by her last name, which is Beck. And when he meets her, he like becomes obsessed with her and starts stalking her. And I'm sure things just kind of progress from there. I don't want to read what just happened, but in case you're familiar with the TV show or you read these books, I just read the scene that takes place near the subway. That's all I'll say about that. But I'm sure that things are just going to get more intense from here. But I will say there is definitely a creepy tone to this book, at least so far, which is funny that I picked up this book right after picking up Love and Gelato because I feel like these books could not be more different from each other. Even though, like I said, I'm only 40 pages into this book, but so far they are literally polar opposites. So I'm excited to see if I like this book. I do find the way that it's written a bit interesting, and I kind of had to get used to the writing style. Now that I'm more used to it, I feel like the way it's written actually works for the story. Basically, like I said, we're in Joe's point of view, but when he's talking about Beck, he always says you. So like in the very beginning, he's talking about her walking into this bookstore and he says, you are wearing this, and you are going to this section of the bookstore, and you are doing this. And I was like, oh, is this weird? Like I'm supposed to be in the book? And then you get introduced to Beck, and then it like kind of makes more sense on why he kept saying you, but he still like says you when he is talking about her in his inner monologue. So it's very interesting, and also I just think that that's funny how it like ties back to the book like that. Also, the back of the book says, as Joe invisibly and obsessively takes control of Beck's life, he begins quietly removing the obstacles that stand in their way. Joe will do anything to ensure Beck finds herself in his waiting arms, even if it means murder. I just feel like that shows how crazy this book is about to become, so I'm excited to see where it goes. Like I said, it was a bit of a shock going from Love and Gelato to this book because they could not be more different. I just made it to chapter 13 or page 124. Honestly, I was expecting this book to be a little bit creepier. I thought it would set me on edge more than it has, but I'm sure our main character is definitely going to get more intense as the book goes on because I don't know, I just feel like that book is like giving me that vibe. Also, I'm curious, since this is gonna be a whole series, I think it's 4 books in the series, I'm very curious on how how this story is gonna wrap up, because like obviously this book is all about his obsession with Beck and like their relationship and all of those things. So I wonder if that's gonna continue and like that's the whole series. I don't know. I'm kind of confused in that aspect, but I'm hoping it gets kind of like a creepier, scarier turn to it, or just things get more intense, because they're not super intense right now, but he has been doing some things that are very questionable that I'm like, that's a little risky, Joe. So there's that underlying tension to the book of like, okay, he's doing these crazy things and he could get caught, but like he hasn't yet. Maybe he will, I don't know. Also though, I just found myself thinking about Love and Gelato just now. Like, I don't know, it just like came out of the blue and I'm like, okay, maybe I liked that book more than I thought I did. Because honestly right now I kind of wish I was reading the second book in that series, but I am still enjoying myself. I just want something a little bit creepier. Like I don't know, I kind of want to be scared a little bit. I'm not like too scared. I've been reading for a little bit this morning. I made it to chapter 17. His actions are starting to slowly ramp up a little bit. Like he just did something very wild in the last chapter. Even though I feel like we didn't get like a ton of details on what he did, we got enough to know like the gist of what went down. But at the same time, I'm not sure how I feel about this book. It's nothing like I've ever read before, not only because of the whole you thing, like when Joe is talking in his inner monologue about Beck and like saying you. Not only is that writing style different than anything I've read before, but it's also like a thriller mixed with a romance, which I feel like is kind of new in the sense that like Joe is the bad guy in this book, I feel like. So like during these longer, more like romantic scenes between the two of them, I will literally be like, oh, this is so cute. And then I'll be like, wait, I don't like Joe. Joe is not someone I should be rooting for right now. So it's like kind of conflicting a little bit. It's a little bit of a weird feeling, but I feel like it works at the same time. I don't know, but I have like 20 more minutes until I need to log on to work. So I'm gonna read until then, but I did get the audiobook from Liddy, so I'm gonna switch to the audiobook once I work because I'm kind of hoping to finish this book today, but I still have a lot to go. Know what to say because I don't think I'm liking this book right now. I've gotten pretty far into it. I'm now on page 276. First off, I want to say this is definitely for older people. Like no one in the YA age range should read this book. Not that I think anyone in the YA age range is trying to read this book, but I just want to put that out there. Second thing is I just am not sure how I feel anymore because I don't like being in Joe's point of view. It kind of makes me feel weird because he is so like on edge all the time and like kind of always lying, and like he just had an interaction where like the whole time I was like, he's gonna get caught, he's gonna get caught, he's gonna get caught, which I feel like is like spiking some anxiety in me and like not in a good way. I feel like when that normally happens in a book, it is in a good way, but like in this book, I'm just like so freaked out for him because I'm low-key like rooting for him, but that doesn't make any sense to me because he is the bad guy. I don't know, I'm kind of struggling being in his point of view, but like there's something wrong, which I guess is probably kind of the point of the book, is that like we're supposed to feel like there's something wrong, like we're supposed to feel this unease, but I kind of don't like feeling like that. I don't know, because a lot of time in a thriller I do like that unease, but in this book I'm kind of not liking it. I don't know. I'm like conflicted also because I did really want to enjoy it, and we already had one book in this video where I didn't love it and it was also a thriller. So I don't know, because also at the same time I can appreciate this book and the way that it's written and how unique this book is, but to me that's like not enough for me to love it, you know? Like I can appreciate those good qualities of the book. That doesn't mean I love it, but also at the same time I like can't look away from this book. Like it makes me feel so uncomfortable, but I can't not look away. Like I will pick up the book and just keep reading. Like I don't even know if I'm explaining this good, but it's kind of addicting, like in a bad way though. I don't know. I think it's just like the way I feel towards Joe Joe is so weird and confusing that like I'm getting confused about the book. Because like I said, I for some weird reason like Joe when he is a horrible person, like actually like horrible, like really bad. And I can't think of any other adjective to describe him, so that's gonna just have to work. He's just not good, man. Like, I don't know. I know I literally just updated, but I need to tell you that something I guessed so long ago just happened. I feel like it was supposed to be obvious that that was gonna happen, but I'm not sure if it actually was supposed to be obvious or not. But either way, I did guess it. And I'm also just so confused still on if we are supposed to like Joe or not, because I feel like since it's written in Joe's point of view, we're supposed to like him. Like, I feel like if we weren't supposed to like him, we would also get like Beck's point of view or just other people's point of view, but we don't. It's all written in Joe's, at least so far. I feel like I had something else to say, but I literally can't remember. I'm just so conflicted on how I feel about Joe, because obviously like he is a horrible character, like horrible person. I almost said horrible human being. He's not real, so that doesn't really make sense. But obviously I've only gotten a chapter further than when I last updated you, so my feelings have not really changed. I think I feel the exact same way. I'm just like, I don't know, like I'm confused on why I can't look away from this book. It like literally, I don't know how else to describe it other than a dumpster fire. Like, it's a mess that you feel like you should look away from, but you can't look away from it. That's kind of how I feel. I just made it to chapter 46, and there were just 2 chapters back to back that were so crazy, where so much went down, and honestly some of the things that happen in this book don't make a lot of sense. Like, specifically how he manages to get away with these things, and I can't really go into detail about that because I obviously don't want to spoil anything. And I know my last 2 updates were kind of all over the place, but I feel like I figured out my feelings towards this book, at least a little bit. He is so messed up, and I think that that is what is so entertaining about this book, because you don't really know what he's gonna do next. Like, you can guess, and I have been guessing. And I did guess a couple things right. And as I'm reading, I'm realizing I wish we knew more about his life. Like, not really exactly his childhood, but I guess maybe a little bit his childhood, but then also just his life before this book, because then I feel like maybe I would be able to understand him a little bit more. And we've gotten a couple flashbacks. We've gotten like 2 or 3 flashbacks, but I don't feel like that's enough for me to be able to understand his character, because we just like jump right into the story. And it's funny that I'm saying this because I feel like normally in thrillers I'm like, I don't need any background information, but with this thriller I feel like I do. Like, I don't understand Joe at all. And hey, maybe we're not supposed to understand Joe, but I don't. And honestly, everything really bad that he has done I had predicted, at least before the last 2 chapters, because the last 2 chapters I didn't predict that happening at all, but everything before that I did predict. So I do find him a little bit too predictable for me to love this book. But when he isn't doing crazy things, I'm like, oh, like you're so normal. Like, I like you. Like, you're cool. And then he does something out of pocket and I'm reminded, no, he's not normal. He's not chill. He's very out of pocket. But I only have this tiny little bit left, so I'm gonna go finish this book and hopefully I can figure out how I feel about it, because right now I have no idea what I would rate this book and I'm almost done with it. I just finished reading You, which we all know has a screen adaptation, and I've been very excited to watch the TV show because I feel like it was blowing up a while ago and I can at least now watch the first season. I'm honestly not sure if I'm gonna keep reading the rest of the series or not. I didn't not like the book, I just don't feel like I liked the book enough to keep going with the rest of the series. But I do think I'm gonna rate this book a 3-star. It didn't wow me, but it wasn't bad, so it was just kind of a little run of the mill. I also read another thriller in this video. I read The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley, and I think I settled my rating on a 2-star for this book. This was just not one of my favorite thrillers, and I feel like there's better thrillers out there. I also don't think that this should have been marketed as a thriller, which I kind of talked about that already. I also read Love and Gelato, which I can't remember what I originally said I was going to rate this book, but I ended up deciding to rate this book a 4-star. I found it a bit predictable, but I ended up finding myself thinking about this book a couple days after I finished it, which is always a good sign, which is why I think I'm gonna give it a 4-star. I'm also just so excited to keep reading the rest of the series. I have not stopped thinking about picking up the next book in the series. Now, after all of that, let's see how many books are left on my physical TBR. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 51, 52, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115. How satisfying is that? Honestly, technically, I forgot about 4 more books, both in my last video and in these stacks, because they're on my other shelves over there, because some of them are rereads, but I want to like reread the whole series and then read the new book that came out. So technically I started with So technically including those 4 books that I missed that are on those shelves, I started with 123 books and I'm ending with 119 books, which is still crazy. It's still a lot. I feel like I should have gotten more books done, which I'm kind of confused because according to the stack of books I have that I read in March, I should be down 7 books instead of only down 4. But I will say I did buy 1 book. Wait, no, that's not true. Wait, I forgot I bought 3 books this month. Oh my gosh, that's so sad. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I thought I only bought 1 book this month. I bought 3. So obviously I have a lot of work ahead of me. That realization was disappointing, but hey, 3 books less is 3 books less, you know? Little by little, we're gonna get this under control. And I hope you will stick around while we do that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!